Hey Capricorns, this is Lisa at Light Guided. I'm so happy to be here with you today, and I'm looking forward to doing your reading for May. And I just dropped all my cards. I'm going to say, Capricorn, you might be feeling a little out of sorts today. Ever since I started prepping for your reading, I've knocked over several things. I've dropped my cards several times. And I'm not a Capricorn, but I'm wondering if you're having some of that influence today of having a hard time concentrating, having a hard time focusing on work. Anyway, this is going to be your abundance reading for May. I'm super excited about this. Overall, the intuition I'm getting on this right out of the gate is just a sense of feeling pretty tired. Feels like you're focusing on some pretty lofty goals at work. You might be pushing toward a promotion or really looking to get, like affirmed at work. Like you really want people's attention. You want your boss to notice that you're doing a great job. There's part of you that's feeling like, oh, it's all for nothing right now. So take a deep breath. Let's go ahead and jump into your reading. And this reading is going to focus on abundance and prosperity. And we'll start your story, get you some wisdom for the day, for the month, and go ahead and add to the extended reading and develop out that story a little bit more. So if this reading resonates with you, please go ahead and like, share, or subscribe, and we will appreciate that. And also, let's see what else. Let's go ahead and just jump into your reading. All right. First card coming out. Let's go ahead and just check the situation around abundance right now. Current situation around abundance for Capricorn for the month of May. Looks like there's something ahead of you. Maybe it's like 3 to 4 weeks out that you're really looking forward to. Some kind of break. It really feels like you're just needing a break right now. Some kind of reprieve from the day-to-day. Let's get some clarifiers here. Hanged Man. What do we need to know about the Six of Pentacles? So this does feel work-related to me. Nothing tragic going on at work necessarily. Definitely you're working toward seeking this acknowledgement from your higher ups, and there's part of you that is putting attention on this because you feel like you might be getting a promotion or that you should be working toward a promotion. There's some of that happening here where you're feeling this sense of external pressure, like somebody has an expectation of you to advance in your career. But part of you, your heart is not in this work at all. You probably make okay money, but because your heart's not in it, it doesn't always feel like it's worth it at all. And there's this part of you that's really looking outside of your current work situation for something much more fulfilling. And there's a male presence here. Let's see, let me get some further clarification on this King of Pentacles. Who is the King of Pentacles? Oh. Okay. So we have the Empress and the Five of Swords. Let me sit with this for just a second. So even though even though we're looking at a work-related situation here, this King of Pentacles is showing up. It feels like a family member. I don't know if this is a spouse or a first-degree relative. Could be an older brother. It could be an uncle. It does not feel like a father figure, but another first-degree relative. This person may have a business that they're wanting you to look at with them, or perhaps there is a family business that you've come out of that in the past, that you have that history in your family, and somehow that's playing a role here in your current dissatisfaction. I'm not quite sure why. It may have something to do with the expectations you put on yourself about what you think you're supposed to be doing. And again, in this current situation, you just don't have a lot of love for the work, and probably not even the organization that you're working with. There's part of you that's looking for something much more meaningful and fulfilling. Get a confirmation on Queen of Swords, clarification on Queen of Swords. Capricorn, I'm a mess. I'm wondering if you're a mess today. My cards are all over the place. That is nuts. All right. Queen of Swords, clarification on Queen of Swords for Capricorn for the month of May related to abundance and prosperity. This Queen of Swords, my sense about this is that you may have an idea about what could feel satisfying to you, but you're kind of stuck. You feel like you haven't had enough time to really flesh out this idea, and even if you did flesh out this idea, maybe you wouldn't get the support that you need. But you have a sense that this is going to be emotionally fulfilling for you. And when we look at abundance, we're not just looking at financial resources, but we're also looking at the abundance of joy and happiness. And this seems to be surrounding your work at this time. So there's something brewing here. You have something brewing. There's an idea brewing. You're not quite sure where it's going. You're not quite sure if you have all the skills. You're worried about what your family might think if you move forward with this. And right now you're feeling kind of unsupported in it. But I'm also seeing you haven't shared it with a lot of people yet either. And let's get some clarification on the Page of Pentacles. There's a possibility that if you were to start sharing this idea, that in fact you could end up getting quite a lot of support for it. But I'm also sensing that there's part of you that's a little fearful about sharing the idea. Again, that possibly your family or friends might think it's weird, or why would you leave this solid career and this solid job just to find your happiness? But I get the impression that you're just at the beginning of recognizing that there's more to life than what you're doing now. And you're just not quite sure where to go with that yet. We get clarification on Page of Pentacles. We have an Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, Five of Cups, and Ten of Wands. I'm getting two distinct messages here. One is for those of you that are still kind of stuck and trying to move forward in your current career. Part of you is waiting for the higher ups, your boss, someone to acknowledge and recognize you, and to if they give you a promotion, it's like they're making the decision for you, that you then don't have to move forward with this idea that you're having. And it would give you a sense of, it's almost like an exhale, like, oh, good, I don't have to worry about trying to develop this other thing that's feeling kind of scary. So it would give you a sense of relief, but it would be more of the same. You would continue down this path of, feeling empty inside. Maybe you would do that for another year or so before coming back around to your idea. And then for others of you, there's some of you that your idea is a little bit more formulated and solid, and you're trying to figure out now how to begin communicating about that and to who you want to communicate that with. Okay, clarification on the 10 of Wands. Clarification on the 10 of Wands for Capricorn. Oh, so we haven't even gotten to the blocks yet, but this is popping up here. A few of you are actually feeling fearful of the success, in that, not because you think you're going to fail, but because you recognize the responsibility of being successful. And if whatever this idea is that you're considering, it feels pretty big. It feels like a huge departure from what you're doing, maybe even from anything you've ever done. And part of you does know that you're fully capable of achieving this goal and doing this work. But the other part of you is, there's a small part that thinks, oh my gosh, if I'm actually successful at this, I'm going to have to hold it together. I'm going to have to, what if it gets too big and I don't have enough energy to sustain it, that kind of thing. And again, you're contemplating who and when to start bouncing this idea off of. I get the impression that there's one person in particular. Let's see if we get clarification on that. Who should Capricorn be talking to about this idea? Who should Capricorn be talking to about this idea? You haven't decided yet. You haven't decided yet, but you are considering. There is, this is another very strong male figure. These figures actually feel related, but not the same person. This figure feels one step further removed. This could be a former boss or someone that you know through someone else who, from afar, you recognize that that their opinion is super important to you, for one. Very important. In fact, you put a lot of weight on whether or not they're going to agree with this plan that you're hatching. But you're also thinking, if you can get them on board with your idea, that will really help move things forward. And in fact, they might even invest or help you find an investor in your plan. Okay. Clarification on the Hanged Man for Capricorn. We have Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, Four of Wands, Six of Swords, and Page of Wands. So overall, some really positive cards here. Okay. So I think this is the same story, but it might be a separate story. And there's certainly some of you who, as I started out saying early on, some of you are just feeling like you need a break. You're just ready for a break. And so there's a part of you that wants to just put the current work situation on hold for a little bit, put the idea on hold for a little bit, and just go on a reprieve. Just take a trip, or just give yourself a mental break so that you have time to really process what's going on. And you have this kind of sense that if you give yourself some of that time, that in fact you'll then end up being able to make a decision about what you want to do. All right, Capricorns. Before I move into the extended, let's go ahead and get some wisdom cards for you. Let's see what kind of supports you're needing at this time. What kind of supports are Capricorn needing at this time related to their abundance and prosperity for the month of May? Supports for Capricorn. Oh, that's interesting. Are some of you thinking about doing spiritual work? Or building a business around spiritual work that would be much larger than just you? Anyway, that's a message I'm getting here for some of you. So when I look at what supports do you need right now, goddess energy is coming up, indigo energy is coming up, and you are a powerful light worker. So you can see there's a lot of spiritual support for you in whatever you decide to do moving forward. But right now, the messages are to embrace your divine feminine energy, embracing its magical intuition and nurturing qualities. So we had talked about that, right? Needing a break and taking that time to really be in a space of reprieve. As a powerful light worker, it's safe for you to be powerful. Your spiritual power brings out blessings in loving service to the divine. So that kind of goes back to this idea about whether or not you want to share it or when you're ready to share it, and with whom. But really recognizing that you're safe in this and your spiritual power brings you great blessings. And as an indigo, I love this card. I don't see this card very often. Look at this. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful image with a little boy pulling the unicorn or the Pegasus in the full moon. The indigo card says that you're a person of great sensitivity and you're a natural born leader. So again, you have everything that it takes to do this idea. In the extended reading, we're going to go ahead and look at some of what's blocking you from moving forward and what some of the next steps could be to help you move past some of those blocks or heal those blocks. So for those of you going on to the extended, we'll see you there. And for those of you who are choosing not to, I wish you a very wonderful day. And thank you so much for being here today. And if the reading has resonated with you, I hope you'll like, share, or subscribe in the link below. And we'll look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.